Hey everybody, it's your boy Sean Christopher Jenkins. Sorry, me and Justin didn't go live last week. Life hit us.
Mm.
Yeah, so I'm going through a lot right now, so I can just use a lot of prayer. But anyways, guys, we got a treat for you today. Me and Justin are doing something different. And Justin, man, your video look weird. Like, what's going on?
Oh, really?
Yeah, can you see it? Does it look normal on your end?
Yeah, it looks normal to me. Why? What do I look like?
You look disproportional. Like you looking, you know how I talk about like on an elementary school desk how the metal was and how this was
Yeah.
portion. That's what it looks like right now.
Oh, just like I wonder if it's because I turned it.
I don't know
That,
what's going on.
that still look weird.
Yeah,
We're just talking about how the we were just talking about how the signal and the video and the audio was doing well, and then this
it just
pops up.
happened.
But man,
Right.
technology, it just happens.
We're just gonna do a video with you looking weird. You really need to see yourself right now. Go on Facebook and look at
Oh,
my
okay.
Facebook page or my YouTube channel, and you'll
Yeah.
see what you look like right now.
Okay.
But yeah, guys, let's go ahead and get to it. All right, so me and Justin, we got a different video that we're gonna do for you today, and it's really for young people, right? So I know for me, I have a lot of regrets, from my life, and in life, I say it all the time. In life, you're gonna have good regrets and you're gonna have bad regrets. So sometimes, uh, no matter what you do, no matter what decisions you make, like Jesus said, count the cost, right? Because no matter what you do and what path you choose, you're always gonna wonder, what if I would have chose the other path? What if I would have chose a different route, right? So I just want to give some people who are in their 20s and who are young or who are trying to make lifelong decisions, like I want to give you some advice, right? So this video is for you. Like it's advice I wish I would have received when I was in my 20s, because now I'm 30, right? And it all builds up upon each other, right? Because if you don't make the right decisions today, it's going to dictate your tomorrow. So your tomorrow's
Mhm.
not going to look like the life that you want it to look like if your today isn't right. So here's a visual, guys. So this visual has changed my life. Like this visual is, I saw this about like around 2016 or something like that. So I really like this visual a lot. So saw it on Instagram, I think first. So I'll post it on my Instagram page eventually. But here goes the photo, guys. It says that here goes the steps in life. So I don't know what the 50s and 60s and 70s would be, but here goes what life should look like in your 20s, your 30s, and 40s. So it's just a visual. So in your 20s, you grind in your 20s, right? You work hard in your 20s. So you get your education, like you start building your credit score, you start investing. This is what you do in your 20s. You're always on the run. This is when you have the most energy, right? Then you build in your 30s, so start a family, get married, car, right? So this is kind of generic. So it's not saying that you have to do this, right? It's just a visual. And then it says in your 40s, you'll chill. So you'll chill in your 40s, right? So, yeah. So I was going to ask everybody, what do you think about this visual? What do you think about this photo? Do you agree with it? Do you disagree with it? Or, yeah. So, Justin, I'll let you start it off, man. Let's see if your video has changed back once I stop sharing my
Yeah.
screen. It
I'm
changed back. It was
I'm
my
look.
fault.
Yeah, I'm looking at me live. I look fine. I don't know what
You
you're
look
talking about.
fine live.
Oh, I
I just,
thought I did. I'm looking at the
okay.
live right now.
Okay, maybe it's me and just on restream. Let me see. But
Oh, okay. No, you're good. Oh yeah, it's weird watching me live though. This is the first time I watched us while we're doing this. Yeah, I look fine. I mean, I still look weird, but I normally look weird. It's like my normal weird, but it's not video distortion weird.
all right, what do you guys think about Justin's haircut, man? It looked good. It's
But
like with a new person.
oh man, yeah, good summer haircut. But yeah, just I do like that picture. I do think I'm trying to not say it in a way that makes it sound like I'm complaining about kids nowadays, so I don't date myself. But I do find it, yeah, I do find it really, um, I do find it odd that nowadays, like, I feel like the generation that was just preceding me, like, not like what my kids would be, but just like a couple of years after me, like a lot of my younger friends, like they don't know what to do, they don't know what direction they want to do, they don't really know what passion they want to fulfill. Like it's very common to have like undecided majors or to hop around on jobs, and it's like I don't know. I feel like when I talk with my parents or some of my older friends, they kind of like had a path set down for them, and they just like work towards it. And I have some friends who like they didn't complete like a big college degree. They went to like community college or a trade school or something to learn a certain skill. But they're like, man, they're doing just as well as like people who spend 6 8 years in college just because they buckled down and stayed in that profession. They like got good at what they're at. I think that's definitely something that you need to do when you're young, because you do kind of lose options as you get older. I do think that God has a lot of grace for us. Like sometimes it takes some people longer than others to get to where He wants us to be, or sometimes He just has different chapters for your life. But yeah, I totally agree with that picture, in that you do need to. And like I'll have some counterpoints later about like good balance. Like obviously the picture is not set in stone. It's not the Bible. Like there are extenuating circumstances. But yeah, if you work hard today, like if you keep pushing off doing what you need to do today, if you push it off to tomorrow, man, it's like you won't be able to enjoy tomorrow. You just like keep pushing it further and further out.
Yeah,
But if like you and plus like by pushing stuff out, you get into that mentality. And I feel like I've gotten into that a little bit too. As I get older, I have less responsibilities. Like if you get into that mentality of like pushing off work, it just takes so much longer. Like if you push what you're supposed to do in your 20s into your 30s, like you won't get to enjoy yourself until like your 60s, because like suddenly everything you could have done in a decade takes like 20 years to do.
yeah,
So it's yeah, you definitely need to like buckle down and like it's good to explore stuff, but like don't take so long. Like I feel like we have to make some sacrifices and just like work hard for stuff instead of finding like what's your true purpose, or what am I really meant to be. And I think everyone does have like passions, but like the movie Soul, like have you seen the movie Soul?
yeah. I have.
Oh, okay. The movie Soul was really good because like at first I didn't want to watch it because I thought it was like too much hype, and the first time I watched it I didn't even think much about it. But something I did like re-looking at it, something I did appreciate is like they said no one really has like one purpose. Like you have passions, you have chapters in your life, you have things that you can enjoy. Like I appreciate that. It's like I think we do waste our time sometimes figuring out, oh, what's like what is my one purpose I put here on earth? And it's like, man, I'm not the same person I was in my 30s that I was when I was like a teenager. And I'm not going to be the same person in my 60s. My purpose will probably change. My passions probably change. But something I can keep consistent is that I work hard so I can enjoy that work later.
Yeah, yeah. And going back to the visual, guys. So basically, guys, this whole video, me and Justin are just focusing on this visual right here. So I saw this video about like in 2008, I'll say 2018, 16, something like that. So maybe even like in college a little bit. So yeah, so this is the visual. So tell me if you agree with it, guys. So it says like in your 20s, this is what your 20s look like. In your 30s, this is what your 30s look like. And in your 40s, this is what your 40s should look like. But like, I just want to break down this photo. I asked everybody like, what do you think about this photo? Like, I like just the message behind like the grind. Like it's basically saying like if you don't grind your way to the top, you're never gonna get there. If you don't put in the work and work hard, you're never gonna be able to chill in your life. Like one thing
Mm,
my dad has said to me was one of the greatest advice he's ever given me that I'll never forget. He said like pay now, play later, play now, pay later.
mm,
So pay now, play now, pay later. So like guys, if you make life a game and you mess up in your 20s, don't expect to be able to play around and be going on vacations and be touring the world and be living the dream if you ain't putting in the work today.
mm,
Right? That's the whole point. So like in your 20s, like guys, let's just break this down and be real. Like in your 20s, you're not gonna have the same energy that you have in your youth that you'll have you're not
mm,
gonna have that same energy when you get old. Like one of the things Billy Graham said Billy Graham, he's the greatest evangelist ever known by mankind, other than Jesus, right? Like in our time period, right? Well, the time period before us. But anyways, like Billy Graham, like if you don't know who he is, like look up some of his sermons and stuff like that. He used to fill baseball stadiums and stuff like that. But one of the stuff that he said is like he wrote a book, and he wrote a lot of books, but his very last book he wrote when he was like 92, so he could barely read and barely see really, and he couldn't see or read or comprehend information like he could in his youth. And so he just gave a lot of like advice to everybody, saying like what things you need to take advantage of in your youth before you get old. And he even said he even has regrets. Like this is the greatest evangelist that we ever known, like in our lifetime. So like we're like, what do you mean you have regrets? Like, and his regrets were like not spending enough time in the Bible and just personally, like for himself, studying the Bible for himself and getting the edification that he needs for himself. Like he always focused on, he's always on the go, preaching, like ministering, teaching the word. Like, yeah, that's good, but like, what about what I need? You know what I mean? Like focusing on just that time with God and pouring in getting that in, right? But that's one way, one of the things he regrets. Another thing he regrets was like, just that energy, right? The energy that you have. Like you got to utilize that energy. You got to put it to good use because you're not going to have that energy forever. Like a lot of times people think, the way that my life is right now is always going to be like this. No, it's not. Like Justin said, it's not. So like that energy you have, that passion you have, that passion may go away. Like, if you don't utilize it now, God's going to give it to somebody else. Like, Lord help you if somebody beat you to the chase, that dream that you have, if somebody else beat you to the chase, why are you going to do it? If they done did it better than you ever could, right? So like life's passing you by. Time is short. It waits on no man. It's always moving. It's just like time always moves. We need to always be moving. So like if I had to give advice to any young person, like, man, you better not waste your youth partying, living it up. Like if you're going to college, especially if you're going to college, let me put you on game real quick, man. Like college, a lot of times when I went to Tennessee State University, right, at HBCU, everybody was living it up partying. And I couldn't figure out for the life of me, like, why are you partying? What do you have to celebrate? Like, what have you accomplished? What have you done? Like, and because I like that, the only thought that was resonating in my mind was what my dad said, pay now, play later. Play now, pay later. All they doing is playing around, having sex, living it up, partying. What you partying for? Why you having sex all the time? Like why? It's you're distracted. You're distracted, right? What are you here for? Right? College is a time to build your resume. College is a time to figure out what you want to do with your life. If you don't have the answer to that question, you have no reason to party. College is a time to build your resume. Because the people who have built their resume during college, they're the ones that are going to get a job right after college. That's why I'm going to put you on game again. 40% of people who graduate from college never utilize, 40% 40% of people who graduate from college utilize their major. Everybody else don't. So that means that 60% of people work at Walmart, McDonald's, Publix, all these like, normal jobs. That's what I'm gonna call it, right? When they could have been in corporate somewhere making like over $80,000 because you were playing around in college, not wasting away your 20s, right? Wasting away your 20s in relationships with people who you have no being, you have no being, you have no, you get what I'm saying? You wasting time in relationships that you shouldn't be in, that you deserve better than that, right? But you don't know you deserve better, so you're settling, right? Like you're wasting your 20s, your 30s with people like that. Like, no, like your 20s is a time to build a foundation. And whatever foundation that you build, you got to live off of it, right? So really, I wouldn't even say that. Your 20s is a time to like really figure out what your purpose is and to like start, right? That's what your 20s is. That's what this visual is saying. And some people do this in their teenage years. Some people do this in their 30s. Heck, some people do this in their 50s. The longer you prolong this process, like, and you forsake doing it and you rebel against it, the more you're not going to live the dream, basically. The more you're not going to be able to take vacations, the more you're not going to be able to experience that dream life, right? Because you're missing the steps, right? This is the steps for success, right? You build in your 30s. I really like this visual. Like, so again, you don't have to wait to build in your 30s when you're 30, right? It's just a process. But the whole key is like this is the steps. So like what I was trying to say is like in life right now, if you don't build the solid foundation that you want to live on, so what's the foundation? Foundation is Jesus Christ. Like my dad always said in Matthew chapter 6, verse 33, seek ye first the kingdom of God and all his righteousness, and all these things will be added unto you. What's all these things? All the answers you got. Like it's all these things, right? Seek the Lord. You get all you'll know which way to go. That's basically what the scripture verse is saying. Seek the Lord, and you'll know where to which not just which way to take, but what your purpose is. What should I be doing with my life? How am I going to make money? Who should I marry? All these things will be added unto you, right? So if you don't seek the Lord first, you're not going to get those answers. So many people are still in their 20s and they're 60. So many people are still, working retail, I mean, at the bottom level at 90 when they should have did that in high school, right? So I'm being real harsh right now, but I'm just keeping it a buck, guys. Like when it comes to this life, like what there's certain questions you got to ask yourself before you can like get anywhere, right? And you got to know the answer to those questions because life's going to throw things at you to question your why, to question your purpose, to question to really see if you really want what you said that you want. Because if you don't want it, you're going to fold. You're gonna give up on it. So that's another thing. A lot of people in their 20s, they not just in their 20s. A lot of people all their lives they toggle between one job and another. Like all these jobs are inconsistent. They have no. It's not a career. It's just different jobs with different doing different things. Like it's just random, right? There's no purpose and no set path towards it. Like if we're being honest, like does God want? Is God a God of confusion? Is God a God of like discord? Like no, like, he's got an order. So like when you're following him, you seek him, you all these things will be added on you. You'll figure out your purpose. You figure out which way to go. You figure out which way to navigate. He'll guide you on the right path. Like you know what I mean. So like you'll marry the right person. You'll be in the right situations for work, for career wise, because he will sustain it. He will keep all of it, right? So that you can get to that. So that you can get to chill eventually. Play now, pay later. Like you all playing games, like you're being foolish, living foolishly, like all these carnal people, like you done did something, right? Like, but you think you're gonna get a reward for being unfaithful? You think you're gonna get a reward for being disobedient? You think you're gonna get a reward and be able to experience the best that life has to offer, that God has to offer, when you're not being faithful with the little things? See, the little things is in your 20s. What do you have in your 20s? What do you have in high school? Nothing. Not unless you come from a rich family. And you want to know why you don't have nothing? Because you don't you don't put in the work. You're not faithful with where you're at. You don't know how to be faithful. Right? I'm done talking. Justin, go ahead, man.
Yeah, and it's like I just want to touch about like the partying in college. Like it's I think a lot of people just get distracted because like there it could be multiple reasons. But two really stick out to me is like one, you could be like nervous about like you I feel like today we're just recognizing um so much anxiety and like mental disorders and just like not even mental disorders, just like mental problems, I think, that give people like paralyzed with fear and decisions. And it's like in college, yeah, you're supposed to be figuring out what you want to do, like buckle down and do the work. But I think like big part of like why people may party is because they want to distract themselves. It's like it is a lot of work.
Yeah.
And like you can get pulled away from that really quickly. But like I will say for sure, I can say for sure, like that's only going to be a distraction though. Like it may feel good for now, like it may feel like you don't have to worry about your problems either. And you always need a good time to vent. Like you need a date night or you need like a movie night with some friends, but you can't make that like a majority of your life for sure. I think you really I think by partying all the time, you're trying to escape your problems a lot of time. And like that's something I see a lot. That's something I do too. Like I just don't want to confront the work that I have to do because I'm worried about like what will this look like for my future. But like if you don't put the work in, then yeah, your future is going to look worse than you thought it was going to be. Like you just have to like you have to trust the work that you put into. Like it won't spit out results right away, or sometimes not even the way that you see it. But like I do feel like God does honor the toil and the work that we put into it. So like don't be paralyzed by the decisions of the future by distracting yourself. That's all it is. It's like a distraction. It's putting off what's going to come. Like I can't beat Sean's statement of like Pay now, play later, play now, pay later. Like that defines everything so well. Like if you waste your time with distractions, um, then you're going to like it's going to be a lot harder. It's going to be more of an uphill battle when you actually do have to confront your future or confront the work that you have to put into it.
Yeah.
And secondly, definitely for like partying or like goofing around or like having sex all the time or like drinking or like even getting into drugs if we want to get that serious. That can happen because like uh, it's related to like I was gonna say it's like related to sin, but it's even on a more carnal level than that. It's it- it's a want to have like a immediate satisfaction or immediate gratification. Like of course, like the U.S., we live in a microwave society. Like we want stuff then and now. Like we don't want to wait or we don't want to work for it. But like if you are spending your college days or the days that you have to work, like drinking or partying, like it's like that's such a temporary thing. Like it's so transient. Like we're going through the book of Ecclesiastes right now. And it's like it's really interesting, but it's like super depressing because it says like what's the point of work or the toil or like parties or spending time with people if it's all just so fleeting. But like I feel like parties and drinking and just like distracting yourself is even more fleeting because it's a instant gratification and then it's gone. You don't get to enjoy it for a long time. If anything, you're going to waste more time by trying to regain that satisfaction that you had. But the problem is like the more you drink or the more you party, like the more you have to do it in order to feel like the same effect.
Mm.
Like the first party you've been to or like the first drink you had, that's going to like have a huge effect on your body or a huge effect on your psyche. But the second or third time you had it, it's going to have less of an effect. You have to do more just to gain it.
Yeah.
So that is a huge danger of um that's a huge danger of taking it too far because you always want to try to relive that first time, but you're not going to get it. Like there's definitely a huge satisfaction of like building up your security for yourself by doing the work now so that you can enjoy it later on.
Right. Yeah, man. Like it's just so much. So I'm gonna share you guys. I'm gonna show you guys some questions because this is the stuff I wanted to cover with Justin on this video. Just give me 1 second. All right. So the questions I wanted to cover for this video for people in their 20s, but it's not just for people in their 20s. Like these are steps that everybody needs to do in order to be successful in life, to be prosperous. If you don't do these steps, like you're not going to succeed. You're gonna prolong the process, and you're gonna prolong the process to success. And not just that, you're not going to be able. Sometimes you're not going to even be able to experience it because you're not going to have the tools and the gifts and abilities that you had and opportunities that you had, before that you cast away and you put to the side. Like if you keep on putting stuff aside and procrastinating, that's what I'm trying to say. You keep on putting things off that you really need to take care of and do in the season that you're in. Sometimes those seasons will never come back, right? And so I don't want that to happen to a lot of you guys. Like there's things that are going to happen in your 40s that if you weren't faithful in your 30s and 20s, uh, you're gonna make your 40s harder, right? There's things in your 30s that you have to do, and if you don't do it in your 30s, you're gonna make life harder for yourself in your 70s, right? So like we're trying to say, like what you do today dictates everything, right? It dictates the future. It dictates your tomorrow. You're deciding your future right now by what you do, right? And I just want so one of my questions I have for you guys. Let's make sure we go to the questions, right? I said, "What do you think about the photo that I keep on showing you guys?" And then I asked, like, "What advice would you give someone in their 20s? What things should people
Mm.
ensure that they do? What things should people What things should people do in their 20s?" That's basically what I'm saying. Like, what things should people ensure that they do in their 20s? And what do you regret not doing more of in your 20s? That's a good question for me and Justin to cover right now. Like, what things do you regret not doing more in your 20s? And if you could redo your 20s, what would you do? Right? So that's a loaded questions, man. So Justin, if you want to talk, I'll let you talk. But I want to talk about this photo. Like I googled some photos of like advice for people in their 20s. So I'm gonna make it bigger so everybody can see it. So it said the best decisions you'll make in your 20s, right? So find your passion. So find your purpose. Find what you love doing. A lot of people are trying to figure out what should they major in college, like, or trying to figure out a career. You want to figure out what your career is, you know, or what your purpose is. What do you love doing? Because let me give you a hint. Whatever you love doing, I'm pretty sure you'll stick out more than anybody else who's in your field and who's your competition. Because that's what life is. It's competition. It's a dog eat dog world. It's so sad to say that, but that's just how this world is, right? So yeah, but if you have a passion and it super exceeds everybody else in your field, obviously you're gonna stick out more than them. Obviously, like you're gonna shine more than them. Why? Because your passion just captivates and draws everybody to you, right? So what are you passionate about? So that's the first thing you need to decide in your 20s. You want to figure out what your major is and what you should do with your life. Just that's what you need to do. So like, what do I regret in my 20s? Not making that decision quicker, right? I knew what it was since I was 17. Mine was reading the Bible, reading the gospel, teaching the gospel. I did that naturally. Like as soon as I got saved on Saturday, September 4, 2010, when I was 17, I just got a gift of the spirit of deciphering scripture verses, of being able to teach the Bible. Not just that, I loved doing it. Like people would come to me for questions. I didn't have to force people to come to me. They just knew, like, Sean, man, you love the Bible, you love God. Like, and can you answer this for me? That was when I first got saved, right? When I was a baby Christian, because I had a foundation. I was a pastor's kid. I've always been in the church. So you guys see what I'm saying. Like I had a love for it naturally. So that's what I should have majored in. I should have went to college, straight to college for preaching, right? Because that's my passion. That's my love. Now, because I'm 30 now, right? Now I have to work twice as harder, right, to do what I love. Because I majored in computer science instead of focusing on preaching, right? So because I focus on computer science, I have to do two things instead of one. Right? If I would just would have focused on my passion, it would have been smooth sailing, right? Because I was chasing the money. See, that's another thing. I was chasing the money. See, let me put you on game real quick. You don't have to chase the cat will chase you, right? So if you're great at something and you're the best at it, you're gonna get paid for it. People will pay you to do for your services. That's not even a debate, right? If you're that good at it, you're gonna pay Kobe Bryant to come give a motivational speech. He ain't even a motivational speaker. He's just the greatest basketball player ever. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, yeah, you guys see what I'm saying? Like, so what are you passionate about? What do you love? Like, just pursue that, because not pursuing it's gonna make it harder for you in the long run. So and it's not even bad. The decision I made, computer science, I came out of college making $80,000, $40 a day. You know what I mean? So $8,000 a year. You guys see what I'm saying? So that's not bad. So I was chasing the money, but the money would have came if I just would have focused on preaching as well, right, and trusting the Lord and just doing that. But I mean, maybe I made the decision God wanted me to do. Being more technical than everybody else. But I mean, you guys get what I'm saying. There's pros and cons to everything, right? So Justin, I'll let you talk, man, and I'll go back to that photo.
Yeah, I think like oh man, I was man, I always think about something to say in the middle of what you say, and then I start listening to the rest, and I just have a brain fart.
Right.
But oh yeah, like a big thing I would suggest too is like just get involved as well. Like put yourself out there. Like it is good to like we've Sean and I have basically been saying like you need to put in the work. You need to figure out like what path you want to take and then go for it. And like it's it's understandable if like you don't know exactly what you want to do, but I think like what really helps if you're stuck is to like get involved in stuff. Like don't sit around and think about it. Like how do you know if something is right for you if you don't get a feel for it? Like I feel like that's something that really helped me out during my years in high school was I joined whatever club, whatever volunteer thing I could get involved with. Like I volunteered with the Boy Scouts, with Big Brothers Big Sisters. I joined like Beta Club, student council, just whatever, to like get yourself involved. Like I feel like I feel like nowadays we always kind of warn parents about, oh, you don't want your kids to like burn out, which is true, but that's not from getting involved with stuff. I think that's from putting pressure on kids for a performance based lifestyle, which is like you need to let your kids know that um you like their worth is not connected with like how much success they have, like, right, or how much stuff they get right. Like they're gonna make mistakes, but like allowing them to do things and like letting them know it's okay to fail, I think is like a huge benefit, because one, they learn that life isn't always going to go their way, and two, they actually get involved with stuff. They can figure out like where their passions are, what they want to do in the future. That way they're just not sitting around twiddling their thumbs. Now there's a good balance somewhere in there, because like that's something I like from chapter 1 of Nehemiah that Sean and I went over, is like he did take some time to sit and fast and pray and weep for like his people before he like set out to rebuild a town for them. But like he didn't spend his whole life doing that. Like he was moved by compassion to get it done and like put in the work so that way the Jewish people could enjoy their lives later down the road. But yeah, that's just something I was really thankful for, is like that I just got involved with stuff. Like I don't feel burnt out from that, because I didn't feel like a lot of pressure to do things right the first time around.
Right.
But something I liked from the picture you showed too was like find a mentor too. Like that's a good one too. Like I didn't even think about that. I feel
Mm.
like that's something I have started getting later on in my life. But yeah, that would have been a good one for when I was younger.
Yeah. Like finding a mentor, man, like that goes back to your purpose and passion. Like when you're back on the right path, man, like for me preaching, if I take the path of preaching, you know how many mentors I'll have? Like, but if I never take that path and never decide to do anything with that passion, you know what I mean? Like, how can I find a mentor? Right. So like I have to commit to it, right? And that's another thing too. Like you gotta commit to things in your 20s. Like, and when you commit to it, you gotta make sure that's the thing you want to focus on. So in your 20s, focus on one thing. That's the key. Like, in or it's a saying, I never understood it, but I understand it now. It said that the jack of all trades is the master of none. So I used to think like one of my goals when I was younger in college was I used to tell people I want to be in cybersecurity. I want
Mm,
to be a software developer. I want to be a preacher. That's a lot of things. Just those three things. There was some other thing too. I want to be like Iron Man, so make my own suits and do robotics and stuff like that. But that's too much stuff, man. You can't do all that stuff. Like, I mean, you could, but you wouldn't have time to focus with other, focus on other things. You have to dedicate yourself to that only,
mm,
right? And preach too. Like, no, no, just you gotta
mm,
pick one thing. To the jack of all trades is the master of none. If you don't focus on one thing, how can you master it? You can't. If you don't focus and dedicate yourself to one thing, how can you be the best at it? You can't. Now you could be great at it, and you may be, close to the best, but you're not gonna be the greatest at it, right? So, yeah, man, like that's what you have to decide in your 20s. Like, what's that one thing I really want to do? And like, if I don't do it, it's always gonna be on my mind, and I have to do it. Like, you're dying to do it, right? And I'm gonna split the script on you too. One question that I always had on my wall, I had a lot of quotes and stuff on my wall in my apartment in Charlotte, North Carolina, and I'm gonna have it in my house too. One of the questions I had was like, if today was your last day on earth, what would you get up and do? Like, if it ain't your job, well, obviously you probably shouldn't be doing your job, right? But if it's your passion, like I would do my passion on the last day of my earth.
mm,
If it was my last day on earth,
mm,
yes, my YouTube channel, my stuff I do on social media, I would still do that. I would pour out even more stuff on my last
mm,
day. Like obviously I'll spend time with family and stuff. But you guys see what I'm saying? Like that's my love. That's my passion. Like I have to do that. You know what I mean? I have to teach the Bible. I have to teach the word. Like I can't get away from that. Like this other stuff can go, but that has to stay, right? So what's that for you? Like, and then invest in yourself with that, right? You keep on investing in that. And that's what life's all about. It's an investment. right? So when you're in your 20s, like I'm trying to go to other photos. When you're in your 20s, it should look like this. Like this, I like this photo so much. Like, and I posted this on my Instagram page, Trouble Don't Last. But the superpower of doing little every single day, guys. Like when you commit to something and you put all your being in it and your life into it, like it's an investment. Life's all about investing in things that means the most to you and that God called you to invest in. When you don't invest in things that God wants you to invest in, what's going to happen? That investment's not going to work out. You'll lose what you had, and you probably lose even more than that, and you probably can never get it back, right? So in this life, it's all about investing in the right things. You got to be wise and
Mm.
decipher what are those things. What do I need to waste my time doing? Because you're investing time into that. So that person you're choosing to love, is it a good investment? That job that you're pursuing, is it a good investment? Is that major that you decided to major in, is it a good investment? Will it last all for all time's sake, like all your life? You guys see what I'm saying? That's how you know you're making the right decision. If your investment doesn't pan out, if it's something you can't invest in for the rest of your life, my advice: don't even invest in it. Don't even go that way. Don't take that route, because there's a superpower in doing a little every single day. So if you make the right decision, that's all I'm trying to say. If you go and take the path that God has for you, and you just do what He called you to do, and you make that investment every single day, this is what it's going to look like. It's going to be a great wall of China. It's going to be a
Mm.
great wall that's not going to crumble and fall, right? It's about building a foundation, right? Like that goes back to the first picture we showed you guys. Like it's all about building a foundation. When your foundation is solid, no matter what life throws at you, no matter what winds and waves come your way in this life, like your foundation is gonna stand. Your house is gonna stand. A lot of people's houses crumble and fall. A lot of people's jobs in their careers, they have none and crumbles and falls because they don't have a solid foundation.
Mm.
It's all about the choices that you make. Your choices that you make today dictate your life, determine your life, right? A lot of people think they're going to get blessings from bad choices and bad decisions. No, it doesn't work like that, right? And so that's what these photos are talking about, man. So, like, yeah, like, and then I like this too. It says start a business. Like, who thinks like that, man? Like starting a business. Like, how you gonna start a business if you don't have a career? If you don't have a purpose? If you don't know what you're gonna do? So yeah, man. And then live below your means. Like that's another thing too. How you gonna get rich, right? Off of the investments that you make every single day. First of all, if you're not consistent at making those investments. Second of all, if you don't invest in the right things, like there's no superpower in doing little by little every single day if it's not the right thing to be investing in,
Mm.
right? So like yeah, little by little, a little becomes a lot. Like all these posts I got, you guys got to check out this post on my YouTube, on my Instagram page, Trouble Don't Last, right? So Justin, you got anything, man? Before I break down some more stuff.
Yeah, I think I really like how you're saying like it depends on like what we invest our time in. Like your stocks are a perfect analogy. Like if you put money into the proper stocks and they grow, like you get a lot back out of it. But if you invest it in like things that don't have a future for it, like things that won't matter, like you'll lose some money for it. And I think like that's important to figure out where do we want to put our time in because man, when you're young, it feels like you have all the time in the world, which you do. Like you do have a lot of you have a lot of time, you have a lot of energy when you're in your 20s. It's something that I've grown to appreciate as I get older. And like that's not to say like and I will say I'll go ahead and say it now. I was going to wait until later. But like you also need to be able to enjoy what you have at the same time. I know like the picture shows chill in your 40s, but like I've also seen like the opposite side of the spectrum
Yeah.
where some of my coworkers or friends they'll like put all their effort into their work. So
Mm-hmm.
they don't even get to enjoy what they have and then it's like they neglect their families or they neglect like socialization or time with friends. And it's
Mm-hmm.
like you don't want to go that far.
Yeah.
Like they're in your when you're younger, yeah, you have to work harder. As you get older and older, like you can stop and relax and enjoy where you put that work. But at the
Mm-hmm.
same time, you do want to find a good balance of like, if you're always looking forward, you won't get to enjoy the things that are next to you for sure.
Wow.
But like, but yeah, that I think that just all ties into like where do you want to put your time in? Like our time is like super precious. That's the thing I say that that's the only thing that we actually really own is like our free will and our time. Like
Hmm.
the fact that we the fact that we want to put our time into like God's kingdom and that we want to follow God's will shows that we're dedicating the only things that we actually have to him. Like we like I don't think we can honestly say that this is our money or this is our house or car because those were yeah, maybe you worked hard for those, but really there's so many circumstances in life that it's also kind of luck and kind of a blessing that we have those things.
Right.
But so it's super important that we figure out where do we put our time. And again, I think Sean and I have been saying like dedicate your time to working hard so you can enjoy stuff later. But I think a part of it is also set aside some time to enjoy the spoils you got as well. Because like you can get burned out on these things, and you do want to find a healthy balance. But yeah, when you're young, put in the work.
Right. And that's the thing. Like you're only gonna be able to put in the work for so long, though. You know what I mean? Like it's hard
That's
to put in
uh,
that work, and if
man.
you
That
don't, yeah, if you don't do it, you're not gonna be able to do it. You're probably
man.
never gonna be able to do it. You know?
Yeah, I feel like I was able to put in so much more work when I was like in high school. Like I just had so much energy back then. You are right. Yeah.
Yeah. And so like yeah, people trying to like live it up. Like you're not gonna be able to live it up if you ain't put in the work. Like and I just want to show you guys a visual, but I don't know if I should show you, but because I do want to give like financial advice eventually, but like this stuff's kind of personal. Like honestly, I want to show you guys like my stock portfolio to prove a point, but I'll come back to it if I need to. Um, let's just talk about like yeah, what to do in your 20s to avoid regrets in your 30s, right? So let's just talk some of this stuff out. So here goes some stuff I found on Google, the good old Google, right? It said build the habit of eating healthily and exercising. Your body will thank you years later. Like guys, if you don't work out now, that's what I've been learning, at least with my body. You got to master your body. Everybody's body's different. You have to know your body. You need to know what your body needs. Like I know for me, I got to focus on my lungs, my heart, and my brain because I could always have lung cancer. Diabetes is another thing because that runs in my family. But for me, like we're having to inhale my dad's cigarette smokes and stuff like that, like brain cancer, heart disease, heart attacks, and lung cancer, like stuff like that. I have to focus on those things. So I have to eat like the nutritions and the supplements that help with that, right? So if you guys want to bless me with food, you let me know, right? And so like yeah, but you have to exercise too, because like for me and my body, like if I lose it, it's hard to gain it back. Like if I got that's another thing too when you're fat and I got a lot of fat, not just a little bit. As soon as you lose weight, your fat's always there. I don't know how you get rid of the fat. You know what I mean? Like if you're like 600 pounds and then you lost, 400 pounds, what is that flab gonna look like? And can you get rid of it? Like, will it always be there? I've never seen it
Mm,
not be there, right? So, yeah, choose who you spend your time with carefully. You'll be
mm,
the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. Like, your friends tell you what your future has in store for you. So, if the higher level your friends are, like, your friends should be who you aspire to be, kind of. You know what I'm saying? Like, they should be, like, pushing you and motivating you to get to the places you want to get in life. Like you need a rich friend, right? Like that friend that helps you to invest and stuff like that. You need a friend who spiritually knows God, who's closer to God than you, that can always get you on the right track, right? Like when you get off track, or like could teach you to, just that you hear from the Lord what you need to hear, right? That's just one aspect. Another friend who is like a lawyer, like that's what I need. I need like a lawyer just in case I get in a situation, or health, with my heart and stuff. Like I need a friend who's good with health, like Dr. Sebi, who cured cancer and different diseases just from using food, because that's what food is. Food is medicine, right? I need a friend like that, right? I need a doctor. You guys see what I'm saying? Like these are the type of friends I need. So like, who are the 5 people you hang out with the most? Because they tell you who you are, right? So Justin, just stop me if you want to add something, man.
mm.
All right. Number 3 is understand that no one has it all figured out. Don't place unnecessary stress on yourself by believing that you should have everything set in stone. See, in your 20s,
Mm.
I like how Justin said that. Like, you're not gonna have all the answers of life in your 20s. Like, you don't know when you're young. So try things. When you're young is when you should try things, right? I'm gonna tell you that now. When you're young is when you should try things. You shouldn't be trying things when you're 60, right? Like you should already have tried it, right? So you miss the process of like doing that while you're young. So you figure out what I love, what I don't like, or what am I called to do. So you can just focus on that the rest of your life and build and build and build and build so that it can be a great wall. You see, guys, say
I
what I'm
think, yeah, I think that's really important to like not get burnt out with stuff, because a lot of
right,
times when I, I don't know, I see this a lot is like, a lot of times people think when they do something, they have to get it right, like right away. Or if they invest in something, that has to be, they're stuck with that for the rest of their life. So
mm,
they don't want to try these things. But no, I think God does offer a certain amount of grace that helps us avoid being burnt out. Is that like we can try things, and there's nothing wrong with trying things if we understand that sometimes that's not the thing for us, or maybe like it doesn't have to be right the first time. I think like I like how you put that. I think that's really important. Exactly it for us not to get burnt out is like having insane expectations for us.
right. Yeah, let's keep on going down that list, right? So right now we're talking about what to do in your 20s to avoid regressing your 30s, your 40s, your 50s, your 60s. We keep on going, right? So let me make it bigger because that looks really tiny right now. Justin, can you see this pretty good? Like, have you been able to see these slides?
Yeah, I see it. Yeah, I've been reading it.
All right, so number 4 says polish your communication skills, which will affect you for a lifetime. All right, so number 5, travel as much as you can. You'll never find it. You'll never find it enough. If you have the opportunity to travel, seize it. That is so important, right? I remember my professors kept on telling me like, Sean, you need to go to Turkey. You got to do study abroad, like in college. And I'm so happy I did because guys, if you're in college, do study abroad, right? Like just go ahead because I'm telling you now, like that, they told me, like a lot of times people who do study abroad in college or who missed the opportunity to do study abroad in college, they never go anywhere. Ask
Mm,
how many people in your family have traveled around the world or been to a different country. Not everybody's like Justin. Justin has been in like every country in the whole wide world, like just about. He's been in a lot of places. But like not everybody has. Some people, it surprises me, but some people literally has never been outside of their hometown. I don't know how that happens. I really don't. But like maybe back in the 1800s or something. But not in today's time period. Like nobody goes outside of their hometown. Like travel, guys. Because the more you travel, the more you just see things, the more you can experience things, the more you see how big the world is, and then the world becomes smaller because the more you see everything. It's just
mm,
beautiful, guys. Because everything's different. Every culture is different. Everybody's different, right? And it's just beautiful to get all those kind of understandings. See, it's hard to be racist when you travel and you just see how
mm,
it's diversity. Everybody's different. Everybody operates different. It's really easy to be open minded when you see all that. It's really hard to be open minded when you just see your little bubble, your little world, your little reality, right? So, yeah, Justin, stop me. You want to say something, man? All right. So, number 6, don't be afraid to express your emotions. You never know when they might not be here to listen. That's powerful. I'm
mm,
going to keep on going on. Number 7, take your work seriously, but not yourself. Your work is your contribution to society. Perform to the best of your abilities. You are a carbon based life form, much like everyone else. And I like that one because, like, basically, it's trying to say to me, like, you're unique. Be your unique self. Like, stop trying to be a carbon copy and being like everybody else. Like, God made you different. One of the things that I should have did in my 20s was hone in on who God made me to be instead of being insecure about it, right? I was so YouTube, oh, I didn't start my YouTube channel until I was like 26 because I was scared of what people might think. Like they'll talk about me, like I don't know the Bible. I know the Bible a lot, but like I don't know it perfectly. Somebody's gonna attack me because I don't know this or I say this. Like who cares? Just express yourself. Like that's a song, express yourself. I think it's Salt and Pepper. Yeah, Salt and Pepper. Express.
oh yeah.
Yeah. Oh, you know that song? Just.
Yeah, gosh, I heard them live in Nashville
Oh,
like a
okay.
few months ago.
Oh, wow, that's crazy.
Oh, like last year actually, yeah.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, I think like yeah, that's I feel like that's important to do now too, because like that helps you, it just helps you grow. And like that's just an important thing to help you grow in general, is if you express what's on your mind.
Right.
Because like if you, like when you're young is the best time to do this, because I feel like when you get older your mind does start to like become less malleable. Like you're going to kind of be stuck on the thoughts that you had.
Mm,
So it's like good to challenge your thoughts when you're younger, because like if you just hang out, this kind of goes back to like I think number 2 or number 3 on that list of like choosing who you hang out with. Like you don't need to just hang out with people who agree with everything you say. You don't need to surround yourself with like yes men, but it is good to like have these discussions, have these emotions so you can like challenge it, because like if you don't think about why you feel about something, like it's not going to have a strong foundation.
right.
And it's like, and that's a big part of like growing up, and it's that's so much easier to do when you're in your 20s than when you're like in your 60s.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Let's go back to that list, man. So like, let me share my screen again. So yeah, here goes some harsh lessons people learn in their 20s. Life doesn't get easier, and I want people to understand that too. Like the older I get, the more I see how hard life is. Like it's hard. Like I always heard like from older people, life's not for the weak. Getting older is not for the weak. Like in order to get older, that means you're gonna go through a lot. You're gonna see a lot of your friends die, your family members. You're gonna experience a lot of crap in life, and this life ain't for the faint of heart, man. Like whatever that saying is, you guys see what I'm saying? Like if you're weak, life's gonna really have a way with you, man. Life's just not fair.
Mm.
And then on top of that, you can't get away from doing the work. That's something else I want to say to you guys too. Like you guys talking about how hard life is and stuff like that. Like if you're not faithful with the little and don't work hard in those little circumstances. So what does that mean if you're faithful with little? Me and Justin gonna do a lot of videos on that. Let's just break this down real quick. If you're not faithful in the places that you don't want to be in, if you're not faithful with, you don't see the point in doing a homework assignment that your teacher making you do, you always like complain and whine about something little, minuscule. How you gonna be faithful in the big areas? Because you're always gonna be thrown stuff that you don't want to do. You're always gonna have to deal with people you don't want to have to deal with. Like if you can't be faithful in a little, why the heck would God give you more? If you're not faithful with the talents He's already given you, and that goes back to the parable of talents. I've been butchering it like crazy, Justin, on every YouTube video we do, man. Like the parable of the talents. One person got 5, another person got 2, and then another person got 1. And the person with the 5 invested in the 5 that he had and got 5 more. So he was faithful with the 5 that he got from the master, from God, right? And he made 5 more.
Mm.
And then the person who got 1 hid his, right? His 1 talent, he hid it. Didn't do anything with it. That's what a lot of people do in their 20s. That's what a lot of people do with their lives. They hide their talents. They hide their resources. They don't do anything with it
Mm.
because, they make excuses like the servant did, right? They have 1 talent. Like,
Yeah.
you're hard man to please. I know that you invest in things that you don't have anything to do with. Like this servant was making excuses about his master that weren't true. They were lies. Like, it just shows that you don't know the master. You don't know how God operates. So you don't know your purpose. Like, because you don't know how God operates, how you gonna know your purpose? Right? Like it all ties in together. You guys see what I'm saying, man. But like, yeah, a lot of people just, man, you're living your life not doing anything what God has already given you. So how are you gonna like maximize what He's giving you and experience what life looks like when you maximizing it, right? So this is advice I wish I would have got in my 20s, guys. Like I got it, but I didn't really understand it. You see what I'm saying? And there's a difference between hearing something and knowing it and then actually applying it, because you really don't know it if you haven't applied it, if you're not living it and experiencing it. You
Mm.
guys see what I'm saying? So yeah, let's go back
Yeah.
to this list. Justin, man, you stop me when you
I
want,
do
man.
want to add, yeah, that's actually something similar I heard about a Bruce Lee documentary. Is like he I think he majored in philosophy, but he was against philosophizing. Philosophizing. I think he made up that word. But he said like there's like no use in like sitting around and thinking up philosophy, or like navel gazing, I guess is what they call it nowadays. Um, because if you don't take action with it, like it's all theory. Like you don't know if it actually works or not.
Mhm. All right, yeah, let's go back to the list. I want to show something for you guys. I just gotta get it ready. But all right, so harsh lessons people learn in their 20s. So this is lessons you should learn in your 20s. If you don't learn them in your 20s and you figure it out later, you're kind of behind the curve. That means you weren't doing what you should have been doing in your 20s to figure out what works, what doesn't work in life, so that you don't have to face that crap when you got 6 kids or 10 kids, 12 kids. Like, you just make life harder on yourself, guys. Like, you see what I'm saying? If you don't learn these lessons now, you make life harder on you later on. That's what I'm trying to say. Like, there's lessons that I'm going through right now. Justin, I know you can testify to this too. There's lessons that I'm learning right now that I should have got out the way when I was like 23. Like, just the board of examiners crap I'm going through in the AME church. Like, it's crap. Like, it's ridiculous. They make stuff harder than what it needs to be. Like, I should have went through that crap then because it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Right? Got to go through all these hoops and be impressive to all these other pastors. I don't have to impress you. Should have did that crap when I was younger. Because it makes no sense now, right? So, anyways, yeah, harsh lessons people learn in their 20s. Life doesn't get easier, number one. Self-love is always the most important thing. You might not figure out everything, and it's okay. So that goes back to what we've been saying. Relationships can be fragile, but you'll learn how to choose better people. It's not. It's okay not to settle down so easily and early. The better is waiting for you. All right, Jess, we gotta go back to 4 and 5 then. In 6-2, the debt can be your worst enemy. Try your best to save money. All right, your parents are often your strongest support, though you spend little time with them. Yeah, that is so powerful, man. Guys, you don't know how long you got with your parents, so you better spend as much time as you got with them. Your grandparents, especially. Like,
We
and
were
your
just
siblings.
yeah, my coworkers and I were just talking about that too, because like Mother's Day just happened and Father's Day is coming up. And it's like, man, I can think of all the times I was just like a brat when I was younger. I can think of a lot of times my brother was mostly the brat though. He was the brat of the family.
All right.
But like, yeah, you like when you're I feel like when you're a teenager, you just or in your 20s, you just think you know everything. There's a term for that, and I forgot what it is. It's like where if you learn like a little bit of a topic, suddenly you think you know everything. But eventually, you learn more and more stuff on that topic, and you realize how much you don't know.
Yeah.
But teenagers, man, they learn just enough to think that they know everything, and like you just don't appreciate your parents' advice as much, unfortunately. Like you do have to be critical about like what you hear, like with everything, but like at least like show them some respect, like enjoy the time you have with them for sure.
Right. Yeah, let's go back to that list again. All right, so we're on the last one. So, the real world can be ugly and it depends on which angle you choose to see it. And not all your friends are meant to be kept. But for those who stay, do treasure them. So, yeah, man, so these are some harsh lessons you got to learn in your 20s, man. If you don't learn these lessons, like I said, man, you're going to make life harder for yourself later on. And the stakes are high. I would even argue the stakes are higher when you're older, right? So if you don't learn those lessons, you got to pay them later on. Oh, Lord. See, that goes back to the saying, pay now, play later. Play now, pay later. You play around with those friends and people you know you shouldn't have anything to do with. It's gonna kick you in the butt later on, right? They're gonna hurt you and see, imagine if you get rich and you bring all your friends with you when you're rich while you're young. And you don't know who your friends really are. They can take your money, they can take everything. They can make you go through things you didn't have to go through. That's the relationships too. Going back to relationships, man. Relationships are fragile. I like this one. It's okay not to settle down so easily and early, right? There's some people you think like, yeah, you want them in your lives and stuff like that, but I thought that too. I was dating people in college. I didn't date that many women, guys. Just two when I was younger. But yeah, those girls, man, I only dated them because I didn't love myself. Like I settled. So like, cause I thought like I thought I was ugly, so those are the only girls who were gonna love me. That's what I thought. But like, yeah, I didn't know my worth, right? So I dated below what I should have dated, right? I dated, I just settled. And I didn't have to, because better was coming. I should have just had more faith. See, that's what I'm saying. Like, guys, you just gotta have more faith. Like, you gotta trust God for the best. Like, don't settle for worse when you can have God's best. And that's not just with relationships. That's with career. That's with everything, guys. Like, there's so many jobs you could have. There's so much you could do in this life. So why just that's another thing too. Why just settle down on one thing when you can have the best thing, right? So yeah, it's a lot, guys. There's so much with that. Like I really like that slide a lot. So I did have one more, Justin. Let's go through this one too, man. And yeah, you can add something if you want to. All right, so 7 lessons you are mature enough to learn after your 20s, right? Be happy on your own. Don't seek out someone else to validate your existence. Wow. All right, let me start talking about one real quick because Justin, this is powerful too. Like successful marriages, they say successful marriages happen when two people are good alone. Like two people know who they are,
Mm,
know they love themselves, and they uh they master being alone. Like they're okay being alone. Those are the best marriages, the marriages that last the longest. It's two people who know, like, it's they're not dependent on the other person. So they're not clingy to them. And they don't like base their whole relationship around that person.
mm,
Those are the
yeah,
most successful marriages that last the longest.
I could
Right?
see that for sure
Yeah.
because who you are in the dark is like who you really are, I think. And like
Yeah.
a lot of times in public, you put up a front of like who you are. But man, for like marriage, it's like you have someone living with you all the time. Like you can't put a front forever. You have to kind of have to show your true self eventually.
Hmm.
So I do think like how you guys conduct yourselves behind closed doors is a good indication of what your marriage will be like. And I do like what you're saying too is like there is an us aspect to it. Like you are a team now. Like every decision you make also affects another person, but you are also two individual people as well. So I like how you also added in like you have your own lives as well, like
Yeah.
that the other person might not necessarily be a part of, and that's fine
Hmm.
because at the end of the day, like you guys will still have to bring your true selves home.
Right.
Man, I my sister was telling me about this one lady who like she still wakes up like 5:30 in the morning to put on makeup before her husband sees her. And it's like that's not a way to live. It's
Yeah.
yeah, and that kind of relates to your like your relationship with God too. Is like you can't put up a mat if you like you're asking for something. You're not you can't try to con God out of a prayer. Like you have to bring your true self to him.
Hmm. Mm-mm-mm. Yeah, let's go back to this list, man. Let's go back to this list. All right. So, 7 lessons you are mature enough to learn after your 20s. Number 2, if you never questioned whether or not you made the right decision, you haven't taken big enough risks. Oh my goodness, it's so powerful.
Mm,
Guys, the higher the risk, the higher the reward. You can get away with making a lot of risks when you're young. A lot of risks. You can get away with doing a lot of you can get away with doing a lot of risks and making higher stake risks before you're married and before kids. But when you got kids and you're married and stuff like that, you can't afford to mess up that. You can't, guys. I don't even have to explain that, right? So, if you never question whether or not you made the right decision, you haven't taken big enough risks. Like when you're young, you better take a lot of risks. You better. That's my advice. You better do a lot, like while you can, because you're not gonna get
yeah.
those opportunities again.
And like when you're young, that's a brain thing too. Like I guess I should say neurobiology, not just a
Mhm.
brain thing. But like when you're younger, you're able, like I forgot. It's the relation between risk and reward. Like you're willing to conduct more risks if there's a bigger payout or reward for it. When you get older, you're less willing to do that. So yeah, and plus, like when you're young is just the time when you need to make mistakes or like mess up on risks. Like that's another good life lesson is like if you take a risk, sometimes you'll lose. Like it's a gamble.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's definitely something you have to do when you're younger. It's like get in trouble, like take a risk, do something stupid. Man, high school is just the perfect time to do stupid stuff.
Right. It won't count on your record.
Yeah. Oh, it's fine.
Right. I'm not saying commit crimes, guys. This is not the advice we're giving. All right. So 7 lessons you are mature enough to learn after your 20s. The longer you wait to start something, the harder it becomes to even start in the first place, guys. Oh, this is so powerful, man. All right. So for me, investing, guys, I'm gonna give you put you on game. Remember this, all right? I'm gonna give a lot of investment advice I'm gonna be probably the first preacher ever giving investment advice. Like, you can mimic what I do and be successful, right? Because I'm a long-term investor, right? And so yeah, so I have a lot of stocks. And the main stocks that I invest in right now, if I had to give anybody advice, just invest in the big six. Don't worry. You can invest in anything. Like, anything can work out for you. I will say that. There's a lot of investment strategies. But if you want to take a risk, like, you kind of got to be safe with that risk. Like, it got to be like a safe risk, right? So, like, there's so
Mhm.
much stuff you can
Yeah.
invest in. And so for me, like, I'm real risky. I'm willing to take a risk at 30 because I can't take those risks when I'm 85, right? But you got to make sure those risks pay off, right? So the best time to
Mhm.
plant a tree was 20 years ago. The second best time is today. That's a saying. And Warren Buffett said that, actually, I think. And his whole point is the best time to invest was in the 80s for Disney, was in the 90s for Apple, was in 2016, 2014 for Tesla when it was at $40 and it first entered the market. Those were the best times to invest in Tesla, Disney, Apple, and stuff like that. Amazon in the 90s. The second best time is today, right? Those aren't going anywhere. They're not. So obviously, I ain't missed my opportunity with Tesla. It was just 2014. Tesla is nowhere near where it will be in the next 30, 40, even 50 years. It ain't going nowhere. I could be in a coma. Tesla's still going to go up, right? So you better invest in it now, right? So the longer you put off doing something, the poorer you're going to be. The more you're going to stay stuck in the same situation you're in. The more
Mhm.
nothing will change for you. You got to make a decision today. You got to start investing today. It goes back to the photo, man. How the heck will you build a great wall of China? Like, how you going to build a great foundation, a great world in your life if you never commit to building it, right? So I'm gonna go to investing real quick. It's probably too personal. You guys can't really see it, man. Like, you gotta really zoom in. But here go my investments, like with Meta, Palantir, and Tesla. Like, the game with investing is accumulating more and more shares. The more shares you have, the more money you make, right? If you don't have a lot of shares, you can't make a lot of money unless it just shoots up thousands of dollars. That's, you know how long it takes for something like that to happen in the stock market? There's a move like that, right? It takes time, sometimes 30 years, 40 for an investment to pan out. So, like, one of my investments is an investment called Palantir. Like, that's my baby, right? And just with Palantir, I have 1,490 shares. My goal is 10,000 shares, right? That's a lot of shares. Like, guys, do the math. If Palantir goes up to $3,000 a share, how much money would that be if I have 10,000 shares? A lot of money, right? That's how investing works. Like, the more, but you got to make sure you invest in the right things. That's my point. Again, going back to investments. Like, if you don't invest in the right things, it's going to cost you. It's going to hurt you, right? The investment's not going to pan out for you, right? So you got to make sure you invest in winners. Like I said, like, the way my investment strategy for investing in stocks or anything, if I can't be in a coma for 50 years and that crap go up and I'm a billionaire when I get out of a coma, then I ain't investing in the right thing. Like, I shouldn't have to look at it and be like, man, is it gonna pan out for me? It's gonna work. No, I should be able to put my paycheck to paycheck, little by little, a little becomes a lot, right? I should be able to keep on investing, and then it grows, right? So I wish I would have did this when I was in college. Like, but I mean, that's debatable. I just should have did it as soon as I graduated, like when I was 23, 24, right? Because I knew what to invest in. I was investing in winners, Tesla and Netflix. And I say that all the time on my YouTube channel. Because I didn't invest in it, I'm in a totally different situation in life. Like, I would have been in a totally different situation then if I would have just invested and been faithful with the little that I had and just be confident in who I was instead of listening to my dad or anybody else investment advice. Because
Mhm.
I should have known and been wise enough to discern, like, if I don't want their lifestyle and what they have for them, I probably shouldn't be listening to them, right? That's who you should be listening to. The people who have the lifestyles that you want and stuff like that. I mean, that's debatable because, I mean, we are Christian and we got to be discerning of who we listen to and stuff like that. But yeah, guys, I just wanted to hit you guys with that. Like, the longer you put off something, man,
Uh-huh.
the further behind you'll be. And you probably will never get to that place that you should have been at if you just would have did what you know you should have did back then, right? And you guys see that, like, as you get older, you'll see that, man. But yeah, you gotta put your foot down on what you want in life and go for it. Like, that's my advice, man. Like, I knew when I was 17. I knew when I was 23. I should have just did it, right? So just do it. The Nike commercial, just do it, right? So Justin, I know you got something, man.
Yeah, and like I will offer like a little bit of grace to everything we've been saying. Like I do have a lot of friends who like man, I went to school for biomedical engineering. So
Mhm.
like you don't go into engineering school wishy-washy. Like you're in it to win it for sure. And like that's the same for like all the science and math and related fields that I went into. But I have had some friends as well who they've had like a big detour in their life. Like God revealed to them what they were supposed to be doing, or they they changed their path completely. Like I had a friend who got his master's in engineering, but then he went to seminary afterwards after a few years because he felt like that's what was called to do. And like he said, it wasn't a mistake. It was like the engineering school gave him an analytical mind, and then seminary gave him like the Bible knowledge, and like he has a unique way of thinking with the Bible now, which is pretty cool. And I think like God does offer us a lot of grace if we're a little bit late. Like yeah, like definitely try new things, like take risks,
Yeah,
like put yourself out there, especially like I can't emphasize that enough because I feel like uh, I hope this isn't blasphemous, but like I don't like it when people like wait and pray too much, you know? Like I think God can't use you if you're sitting in your room philosophizing all the time. Like sometimes you just need to get out there. But like even if you do that, I will say like sometimes it does take you a little bit longer.
yeah,
But God has grace for that. God still has a plan for you. So don't go out there thinking you have to get it right the first time, but definitely put the work into it.
right.
Like it will look different for everybody. Is some people are just in the right place at the right time to get better opportunities, and that happens. But you like God does have a plan for you, and He will stick with you.
Man, we need to do a part two, like just 25 more minutes probably, because like that was powerful what you just said, man. Like
Mm,
redeeming the time, like
mm. Oh, I
redeeming.
like that. Redeeming the time. Yeah, yeah, that's
Yeah.
perfect.
All right, so that's the next video, right? We're gonna talk about that. All right, guys. So let's stop this one because this one's gone too long. All right, so guys, you know the drill, man. Go to my YouTube channel, Uplift Past Crossroads, if you want more. All right, so this video really ties in with all these amazing playlists that we do, but specifically this one. So, all right, so you saw I have photos all the time throughout the video, right? So check out this playlist on my YouTube channel called Instagram Post Explain. It's right here. It can be found under my recommended playlist, and you can see all the videos where me and Justin just tackle like photos on Instagram or social media or Twitter or something like that, and we just break it down, right? Just like we've been doing with that photo with building your 20s, investing in your 30s, yada yada, right? And so, yeah, if you want to see more videos with me and Justin, man, check out this playlist on YouTube channel. It's also found again on my homepage, Uplift Past Crossroads as well. So yeah, if you just go to my homepage, Uplift Past Crossroads, you scroll all the way down, and you'll see everybody who's on my YouTube channel. I have a playlist for them. So Terry has a YouTube, he has a playlist on my YouTube channel. So all the videos I've done with Terry and Justin, all the videos I've done with Justin, my boo, my fiance Maya, you see videos on her and stuff like that. Yeah. So and then also here goes Justin's YouTube channel, Chaplain's Log. So make sure to turn on the post notification. So that means to click the bell after you subscribe so you know when he uploads another video. Do the same thing for me. And make sure to like, comment, and share on all our videos. Watch all our videos all the way through. Guys, we're this close to getting paid and getting monetized on my YouTube channel. Also, here goes Justin's Facebook page. Befriend him on here. And you can ask him any question, DM him questions, and we'll do videos on the questions that you have because we have a playlist on my YouTube channel on questions from social media that we tackle all the time. And like I was saying, guys, like I'm really, really close to getting monetized. And like once you get monetized, you can start getting paid on YouTube for doing videos and stuff like that. But even when you do get monetized, it takes a minute to like actually get paid. But like, yeah, guys, here goes my progress. So if you've been supporting Uplift Past Crossroads and been supporting me and Justin, man, you guys rock. We're almost there. All we need is 4,000 watched hours. So like, guys, if you get time, just watch my videos, man. Watch all the way through. Just have my videos be watching when you're in the shower, like when you're running, whenever. Like just be playing my videos when you're working out.
But you're so close, man. That's crazy.
right. I can't believe it. Like,
Uh,
yeah, and obviously you need 1,000 subscribers, but I passed that after the first year, so I just need the watch hours now. So guys, we're almost there. So yeah, me and Justin are about to go live, finish what we were saying. So if you enjoyed this video, please share this with young people. This is for you. This is for you, but not just young people. Obviously, everybody has to do it because if you don't have a solid foundation, you're not gonna be able to stand in this life, right? All right. So you guys have a good one. We'll see you guys in a minute. Peace out. Thanks.
all right, see